There are more than 1 million students in Canada on international student visas. And because of this, the entire system in Canada is out of control. Canada has been signaling to reduce the number of international students for quite some time, and this has been in the news for a longer duration of time now. Finally, the news that everyone was scared of not happening has been announced by the Immigration Minister, Mr. Marc Miller. IRCC has announced that they are implementing a cap on number of international students who are issued with student visa. So now with this news today, it has created a lot of stress and tension among students because now their future in Canada will be in dark, and for some of them, dreams of making Canada as their home country will also be shattered. The students have a lot of questions in their mind, and they are also tensed about so many things such as what will be the total cap on international students? Does the cap impact the current study permit holders that they have right now? Are spouses of international students are still allowed to work? And the other question that might have in their mind is, will there be any changes in the eligibility criteria for the postgraduate work? There are so many questions in mind of every international students that are unanswered. So in this video, I will be discussing all those things in details, how the cap on international students will impact students all across the world. And also I will be discussing about another very important thing, which is Canada putting limitation on the work permit of international students. So please make sure you watch the video till the end. And before that, in case you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, because on this channel you will be able to view such informative video from time to time. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Pawan Speaks Canada. I hope everybody is doing well. So let's talk about the latest news from Canada about putting a cap on international students and try to understand what is this all about and how this decision will impact you as an international student. So Canada has admitted over 8 lakhs international students in 2022, and the minister was also projecting about that number would rise to over 9 lakhs in 2023. And there has been growing pressure on IRCC as well to take action around the number of international students in Canada, as the entire system has gone out of control because of all this. The minister has said that the volume of students was posing a challenge to the integrity of the system, as some of the institutions had people outside the country which were paying hefty money to private colleges, and they were not getting the education that they were promised to get. The minister also stated that there are a lot of institutions that have recently increased their intake to earn revenue, and because of that, there are a lot of students who have been arriving in Canada, but they are not getting the support they need to, and it has also put a lot of pressure on housing, healthcare, and other services in Canada, which is not a good sign for a country as a whole. So this is a significant problem that needed to be addressed by Canada because it was impacting students and Canada both. Now let's talk about the total cap on international students. The minister has announced a temporary 2-year cap on new students permit. So remember guys, they are only talking about the cap on new students permit starting in 2024. And this decision will result in approximately a decrease of 35% intake from 2023. Previously, they were targeting approximately 5 lakh study permits for 2024, but now it will be reduced to approximately 3,60,000 approved study permit only. They have also done the province-wise distribution of study permits, so which all provinces will be affected the most by the cap. So they have decided that the total number of student visa will be allocated by province based on the population, and it will impact provinces where the international students population has been the most unsustainable growth. So if we talk about the provinces which will be impacted the most, the first province will be Ontario in particular, because in Ontario we have maximum number of international students, and it is also called the hub of international students, and half of the current international students are in Ontario only. So in case you're planning to apply for a student visa, please make sure that you make your choice very wisely in selecting the right province to apply for student permit accordingly. Now let's talk about, does the cap impacts the current study permit holders? There are a lot of students who are stressed and tensed after hearing this news about the cap on international students, and they have a question in their mind that will this cap impact their current study permit as well? So you do not have to be worried about the same, because as per the minister, the cap will not impact current study permit holders, and also for that matter, it will not impact study permits usually, also which includes all streams of educations and even does not include students who are pursuing master's and doctor's degree. So going ahead from now, every application as of January 22nd, 2024, which is being submitted to IRCC, will also require an attestation letter from the province or territory, and the province or territory is expected to establish a process for issuing these letters not later than March 31st, 2024. Now let's talk about the most important thing that is a concern for international students, which is putting limitations on spouse work permit. So as per the current rule, in case you get a student visa post enrolling yourself in a college and you come to Canada for studies, you are allowed to bring your spouse, and your spouse can get a work permit. So your spouse was able to work in Canada, but going forward and going ahead from now, there will be a change in that policy or rule, which is actually not a good news. It will not be possible anymore at an undergraduate level. So, moving ahead, spouses of master's students and students of Medicare and medical schools will be given more priority and will be able to qualify for the work permit. And as per the IRCC, in the near future also, work permit will only be available to spouses of international students in master's and doctor's programs only. The spouses of international students in other level of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. Now let's talk about the changes to the eligibility criteria for postgraduate work permit. So Canada was offering the postgraduate work permit as a part of its effort to attract international students and retain them as immigrants, and that was valid for 3 years. The postgraduate work permit was actually an open permit which allowed international students to work for any Canadian employer without need of a job offer letter. It also allows students to work for any employer of their own choice in Canada, and later you can use this as professional work permit to help you to get a permanent residency. But there is a bad news for students, as IRCC has also announced changes to the eligibility criteria for a postgraduate work permit. So as per the new announcement, starting from September 2024, international students starting a study program that is a part of the curriculum licensing arrangement will no longer be eligible for the postgraduate work permit. Now you must be thinking and confused, what is this curriculum licensing arrangement? So as per IRCC, under the curriculum licensing arrangements, students physically attend the private colleges that has been licensed to teach the curriculum associated with public college. So they are getting an education that is actually not the original curriculum of that private college, but it is from an associate public college. So this is what is called licensing arrangement, and this will no more be accepted. Going ahead from now, private colleges will be given fewer preferences because these kind of private colleges program have attracted international students a lot in the recent years, and just because of that the government thinks that public colleges have lost their importance. So the government is now trying to shift the balance back on favor of publicly funded institutions which are far better in terms of giving quality education to the students, as they mainly focus, the other private colleges mainly focus on money making only. Also, currently the criteria for the length of postgraduate work permit is based on the individual study program, which actually limits the master's student, as it shortens the amount of time they are eligible to gain work experience, which eventually leads to get converted into a permanent. It is very disheartening for the students to hear about this news from Canada putting a cap on international students and limiting the intake, because Canada has always been the first choice of students from countries all across the world to come and study and make Canada as their home country. Well, this is just a temporary cap for only 2 years, and they have taken this concrete step temporarily, but it will be re-evaluated at the end of 2025. Well, they were concerned about undergoing Canada's reputation as a study destination because the students in various private colleges were not getting quality educations. They were not getting any support in terms of housing and other facilities. And also, right now, Canada is struggling with housing crisis, and this is the single biggest thing that they can do in immediate terms to help with the pressure on housing supply in Canada. And it is the another best way to save students from being pleased from sham degrees which were actually of no use to them. So in the coming days there will be more updates that will be released about spouse work permit, and the moment it comes out I will be the first person to share it with you. So just stay tuned, and please share this video with the maximum number of people, because students are very much concerned and eager to know about the latest and most accurate information. Thank you very much for watching Pawan Speaks Canada. See you soon in my next video. Thank you and all the best.